So thank you, Adora, for joining us, me, for our STEM campaign. So the thing is, what we want to do is to promote believe that the superpowers of women is when we get to share our stories, when we get to share the amazing things we are doing. I mean, other women, other young girls can key into this and realize that everything is possible for them. That if you are doing it, they can do it. So it doesn't look so far fetched or like some fairy tale, because that is very relatable to you. So you can own that.
Okay.
So I think let's talk about your journey. I won't ask about how you got in and stuff, but I'm going to ask about how has your role evolved over the years throughout your journey.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I haven't been asked that question very recently because my tech life actually has evolved a lot. And most times I tell the story of what got me in, but I don't really tell the growth story between 2017 and now. Actually, or let's say 2016 and now. Um, and I think that's a story worth telling if you think about it, right? I like as an introvert got into my first company that I worked in. It was an agency in Ikeja. So I was like in there in like the tech studio, the tech department there. And with agencies, it's like it feels like consulting. You have different, so you go for client meetings, you hear their problems, you propose solutions. And so that exposed me to interacting with different people very early on. And one thing I realized then was that I liked people and I liked public speaking, even if I didn't know how to do the both of them. But then I put myself in a situation that forced me to start doing things a bit more publicly than I was doing before. Because you would see me in personal meetings, maybe with my manager or just randomly in very unserious settings. I have a lot to say, I have a lot to advice to give. I can talk she there, I can do certain things. When it's time for the meeting, I'm like this, right? And I'm quiet. But then I had to force myself to come out of that shell because it didn't even help me in so many things. There were a couple opportunities, and I think I've said this before on social media around jobs and things. There were a couple opportunities I lost because of my inability to express openly to strangers at that time, which is very weird because I was a very expressive child when I was like literally but the point is I had to break out of that shell in that time. And I did software engineering for a very, very long time. I moved from Nucleus to Microsoft. I spent Nucleus is the company I started in. I spent 3.5 years at Nucleus, and I moved to Microsoft and I spent like 2 months or so. And I enjoyed my time at Microsoft. I think that was where I a lot of my growth happened. I got into Microsoft that I Azure. I realized how quickly I love cloud related things. And because I was already public speaking, teaching in this, in that way, I now also decided to start teaching cloud and Azure related things. I started with a book, then I did a course, and then I wrote another book, and then I did another course. And now it feels like a regular thing that happens every year where I drop one book and one course, or sometimes two and one course or something. That's how it's been ever since that time because I just really very much I love to teach. And it goes back to liking people and, helping people solve problems, right? So I spent a lot of time in um, Microsoft. I left my job because I moved countries. And at that time, unfortunately, I think people were relocating out of the Microsoft Nigeria office too much. So they banned relocation across the company. And so I was so unlucky that when it was my turn, you're thinking about going global, your location also matters. So it was a decision for me to move to a certain country and do a certain thing and all of that. But then when it was time to move, I realized that unfortunately I couldn't get the best of both worlds. I literally had to quit my job. I remember they sent forth for me, and at that sent forth, I was crying. Who cries to leave a company? I cried so much because I felt like everyone that knew me on social media at that time knew how much I loved working there and knew how much I really enjoyed my time there. So leaving them was like something left me. But I had to leave because it was one of those things. I left and then I did a couple contracts to, figure out myself as I moved into a new country and get stable and start my life. While I was doing that, I was focusing. That year was where I hugely focused on my non-profits. That 2023, I left Nigeria in August of 2023, but since like May of 2023 till like December of 2023, I was 100% focused on building Nexa skill at that time. And I got a lot of experience from building Nexa skill, leading people, leading communities, leading people that were leading teams. And so I just felt like, okay, you know what? This leadership thing doesn't really suck so much. And I also had done a business or leadership diploma at Stanford for 18 months. And it was, I learned about business leadership, crisis management, some bits finance, strategy, and all these different things. And I felt like, let my father's school fees not waste. Let me actually apply in engineering management, maybe leaving software engineering for a bit. Um, because I felt like maybe it was time for me to try a different role, still in engineering, not as a contributor anymore. And so I started looking for roles in engineering management. For a bit, it wasn't working out, right? I didn't have any management role. So that wasn't really working out for me. So I reached out to a friend of mine that owns a startup in Nigeria and I was like, you know what? I come to work with you and lead your engineering team because I need to build that management muscle because I feel like I know that I'm very good at this. But the truth is I don't think anybody else knows. And I don't blame them because I've never had a title that has said engineering manager. So it's going to be very hard for roles that are looking for managers with at least 2 years experience to literally give someone that doesn't have 1 year experience zero
Yeah, true.
turn to move. I couldn't do an internal transfer anymore because that had been banned. Um, for whatever reason. I don't know whether it had to do with us relocating or it was actually a bigger company decision because it wasn't just. But the point is, I could not do a transfer. Like even when you go to the portal to initiate the request, the button was not there. So it
So
wasn't
that
possible,
really
right?
hurt you, the fact you couldn't do that.
It hurts me because I I I decided that it was time for me to move out of Nigeria and expose myself to more opportunities, do more things for myself, build a much more global brand. Let Adora not just be a Nigerian tech babe, but a tech babe. I don't know if you get what I mean. And I spent a lot of my time that company as well, building out the engineering team and doing things there.
Also, teaching.
Yeah.
I don't think many people say they like
I
teaching.
love teaching. I'm going to retire as a professor. I think I've tweeted it before actually. When I'm done with 9 to 5 life, because I have a particular number, a particular amount of money I want to make before I leave, you know, corporate fully. Once I get my number, I will become a professor for a couple of years and then retire as a professor. Honestly, I do. I like to teach, and I think I've always been a teacher. Even when I was in primary school, okay, for then it was about math. People would just gather me when it's close to exam because I'm teaching them math. Secondary school, the same thing. University, the same thing. And so for me, just I don't know, makes sense. Honestly, that I like to help people understand things that they don't understand because I feel like I have the gift of breaking things down into like breaking them from chunks to bits and making it easy for people to digest them. So professor at some point in my life, that's definitely going to happen.
So, should we look forward to a book or an engineering management this year?
Definitely not. I don't think that I am well equipped to write such a book, at least not yet. There are a couple books in the pipeline that you will see between now and in the next 3 years. Maybe not 3 years. Between now and next year, I would have said one is actually coming out next month. It's coming out on the 8th, which is interesting. And then
It's true.
other ones other ones are coming out like later in the year, early next year. of that. So there are a couple things in the pipeline. As for engineering management or leadership generally, um, I will wait till I feel like I have some, because I am a new manager, a new engineering leader. My manager knows that. And for me right now, what I am doing is reading books that time. If I have anything special. Time when I've developed like strategies that are unique to me that work, and I think that these are things I want to tell people, then of course I'll definitely write one. So I'll answer your question partially to say, will you be getting a book? Yes, at some point. Will it be this year or even next year? Definitely not.
Okay, okay. We'll look forward to that. We'll look forward to that part too. Okay, so still on your books, right? Now as like you're a published author, right? You have three books to your belt. And now knowing that you have this thing for being a teacher, how has the fact that you have been able to pen down things that are that's worked for you, things that you have seen in the system that you have been able to share right now through your books. How has that helped you on your journey too? Right? Because some people, right, they usually feel like having like an outlet usually usually helps them sort of refine who they are every time. So how has that helped you as a person? And like also like, let's talk about the impact of your books, right? To the tech space as a whole and women.
Me writing helped me. It has actually helped me articulate things better. It has actually helped me learn a lot as well, because obviously to have mastery, how it says to say you want to write a book. And obviously sometimes when you start to write, you would realize that there's a lot about that concepts that you're writing about that you still need to learn. And so there's a lot of reading that goes into writing. And so that has helped me gain more mastery on the things that I wrote about that I thought I mastered before I started writing about them. Um, there is that. I think writing has also exposed me to other opportunities across the world, whether it's other writing opportunities, public speaking opportunities, collaboration opportunities. But yes, people see me as um, somebody with knowledge in the field that I am currently in, right? That's, cloud platform infrastructure, DevOps, engineering, that space, observability, SRE, that entire space. People see me as someone that has a lot of like knowledge and experience there. And sometimes it comes with collaborations for certain things, and that makes me happy. And that was even one of the reasons, that this job was something that I easily got, because although they knew that, okay, this person hasn't been an engineering manager for a very long time, looking at her CV, just a couple of months, but this person has extensive platform engineering experience and has demonstrated leadership in other ways that could be useful to us. And so obviously, because of that, writing was part of the things that had helped me demonstrate mastery or leadership and things like that. And that helped me. How has it helped other people? I think the testimonials are plenty. Sometimes I sit down and I'm just like wait, is pardon me, just allow me to switch to pidgin English for a bit, but like, now maybe this. Do you get, like, I find it interesting seeing my books in different places that I've gotten to places that my legs haven't even gotten to. And I find that very, empowering and even inspiring to myself, the owner of the book in the first place. Right. So like I'm seeing the feedback. There's some people, especially when I wrote the first book, a lot of people, when I wrote the first book, one thing I realized was that immediately after that, there were a lot of people that just it's made a lot of people become interested in pursuing cloud careers, which wasn't the case prior to that. More people were interested in like front end engineering, for example, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but like I noticed a shift after that book that I wrote. And I don't know whether I don't think it was only my book that made that happen. I think it was my book and then other factors around, people. But I think my book played a role in that happening. And yeah, people have reached out to me that my book helped them. They read this book and they did this. Some people say thank you, tweet. I read the tweets that you made, and because of that, I went to read about you, and I got inspired, and now I want to do X, Y, Z. So it's not even only the book; it's me generally. I find it very humbling, and it's very interesting because I made a very funny tweet this morning about, like, blessings and the kind of success I want to have. And people are under the tweet saying, which kind of blessing and success do you want again? Are you not already big? And I'm like, I don't think I am. I don't think I've achieved up to 1/200 of what I want to achieve in my life. So I don't know about you, but I'm still setting myself up for more blessings and more success, because sometimes I don't want to say I forget, but I don't realize um how the things that I have done have actually helped people. And when I randomly come across, a testimonial or a person, it deeply inspires me. I think one of the biggest inspirations for, like, my work is how I did something around, like, cloud engineering and cloud security. And she never directly asked me, would you be my mentor? But it was a s- it was a thing that happened naturally, also part of it, right? And now this person has um done cloud security, has a job working as a cloud security person, has gone to do a master's in cloud security, and is now working as a volunteer in the cloud fraction of my nonprofit. And it's just very inspiring to see that one mentorship program, that one tweet, that one book that I gave for free that she read, and a couple of things that came after that have had that over time in the way her career has gone. Um, but yeah, it's very humbling, I'll say. Yeah.
Take our time to soak in like how far you've come, right? I know you
That's
like
the problem. I don't.
you don't.
That's actually the problem. And that's what people tell me, because I forget. I don't I don't know, but I also, and I think it's the way I was raised. So with my dad, right? When you do something amazing, he will congratulate you. He will buy you whatever he needs to buy you. Maybe the thing you've been asking for. That then I used to ask for maybe phones or Brazilian hair or something. Now we say wigs. Then I'll Brazilian hair. So I'll ask him for, like, phone, a new phone or a wig or something. And when I do something, he'll get it for me and tell me congrats. But then one hour later, is like everybody's back to regular programming. And so that's the way I am, where when something happens, I'm initially excited about the win, or the milestone, or the impact, maybe like something I have done has. And then after that initial excitement, it's like, okay, back to work. Right. So I don't know if maybe that initial excitement is enough to soak it in. And if it is enough, then I do soak it in. But if you're expecting like a lot more, maybe like a longer time of celebrating, I celebrate my wins once and I move on.
I'm not celebrating, but right, but keeping that in mind, right, while you progress on that. Okay, I did that. Like you, Adora, you did that. So those kind of things, I feel like that's how you soak it in. Not just celebrating at that point, but immersing yourself in the fact that you did that, right, while you push on to other things.
Right. I detach myself from the things that I have done, and I focus on who I am. Right. And so I think those results help with confidence in some way. But I guess I don't want to be proud in some way, but I know that I am a badass regardless of what those results are. And I've always known that I am. And so I don't need results or something to show me that I am. So I guess maybe that's why I don't dwell on them as much, or feel the need to soak anything in, or remember that I have done that. I mean, it's there for the world to see. I'm also very good at keeping records of things that I've done. If you go to my website, not every single thing, because nowadays I've been slacking lately because my places have tripled. So now it's harder to maintain these things. But like most of all the things that I have done exist on my website. You can literally learn about me just by being there. And so I feel like, in terms of, okay, maybe what have you done? What have you done? Sometimes I've even forgotten that I did this thing, and I'll go there and I'll sit and I'm like, oh, I was here in 2023. Oh, interesting. Like I don't remember some of these things. So I don't lean on them for, that reminder, or helping with imposter syndrome, or saying, okay, yes, I did this. Um, because I know that So regardless of what the results are.
And women sharing their voice is what they are doing. Like, it's one of the superpowers women have, to share your voice in your space. Talk about what you do, the journey to what you do, every step of the way, being their faces, sharing your voice. So I want to talk about the platform you have, because I mean, your Twitter. What is the importance of women having platforms like this, sharing their voice? How
I think it helps with representation. Because the truth is, as creative as we are as human beings, all our creativity is because of what we are exposed to, things that are around us. And so obviously if you someone that travels more, that reads different kinds of books, that listens to different kinds of music, that interacts with different people from different walks of life would be a lot more creative and have a lot more groundbreaking ideas than somebody in their village that just interacts with, the village people within their circle, even if both of them did not have education. So let's throw education away now and just focus on creativity, right? The exposure that the like when you expose yourself to certain things, it expands your mind. And so many young girls, and I can say this because I have interacted with a lot of young girls over the past 2 to 3 years, because my nonprofit, we go to a lot of secondary schools and we just talk to young girls and we inspire them to join STEM career paths. Many young girls have that limitation, right, in what they can be, because being a woman doing things in tech is not something that you get to see every day. So getting inspiration to say, okay, I want to be like this person is hard. I went to a school one day, and I was asking people, what do you want to be? Many people said, oh, they want to be doctors. Many girls said they want to be doctors, they want to be doctors, they want to be doctors. And then I started asking, who's your role model, right? In the field you want to be in. Many people were silent. And then I now said, okay, let's leave the field you want to be in. Generally, who's your role model? One girl rose up her hand and she said that Ira Star is her role model. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Ira. I love Ira, by the way. But I'm just like, when we think of women making strides in their fields, young girls most times only have the opportunities to look at celebrities, right? They look at Ira, they look at Beyonce, they look at Oprah, they look at Michelle Obama. They're like, okay, these are women I want to be like. And that's fantastic. But even the people you're looking at, do you want to take the career path that they've taken? Right? You want to be like Oprah or Michelle Obama. Have you read a book on who Michelle is? Right? Have you exposed yourself to what she's done? Are you walking the path that she's walking in? Right? Um, so one thing that I think we need to do a lot more is to get girls exposed to different kinds of women in the different kinds of careers that exist. Let them see that women are succeeding in different things, because that will obviously shape the kinds of things that they would want to pick on as careers going forward, because they can see themselves in those women. Um, so for me, I would say more for girls that are young, right? Because it helps them as a role figure out what they can, what girls are older, because or women that are older, because I think that, at that point, representation is not your problem. If you want to do tech, you would want to do tech. You might have other limitations like funds, you might have other limitations like opportunities and other things, but it would not be the representation problem if you already made up your mind to do it. It's a different thing if maybe as an older woman you were still in that your box or that your bubble, and you did not still know that, okay, I could do tech. But once you can, whether young or old, I think the story now sort of changes to not can I, but how can I. But at the beginning, for a lot of younger girls, it's always a can I question. And so if there were more women sharing their stories and letting people know that yes, you can, then you obviously can. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does, right? It does, right? Because the truth is, what you said, right? Exposing women to like women that are successful across board, right? We don't get to see that. We just get to see just like the popular ones, right? And even the popular ones. So really, even the popular ones, even if they said they want to be doctors or lawyers,
There are not many.
I don't think they know women that are very successful there, right? So most time, like you said, it's just those that are in the limelight. Like, so those are the celebrities that they only have like and they can see and relate with. So really need to spotlight our women because that women doing so much amazing things, which is the truth. Thank you for about career opportunities, right? I mean, we talked about how your own role evolved over the years to where you are right now. And also, we have seen that the STEM space with emerging technologies and all other trends, technology trends, things have changed, right? Um, like maybe careers that were in high demand at some point right now to this point.
Are the ones that are very popular or becoming popular and will shape what our next few years are going to be like. The cloud is still very much there because the cloud is an enabler for so many things. Obviously the cloud will take a back seat and be under the hood, but like I said, it's an enabler for so many things. And so that's not going anywhere anytime soon as well. But I know that artificial intelligence is going to be the top one in different ways. We're seeing how AI is currently changing the industry. And I believe that we've not even scratched the surface of the possibilities of what AI can do for us. And so this is an emerging technology that I believe that everyone should key into. Um, I wouldn't have agreed to this 3 months ago, but after seeing what Satya said last week, I feel like quantum computing is coming and it's coming heavy. And very we'll start seeing computers that can do things that 2,000 computers right now combined cannot do. And obviously, once that happens, then the bounds to the in computing would literally be endless, and you would see more things that people could not do before. And so I would say people should get into, these AI opportunities. People should get into understanding computers and the hardware side of things, right? Because I think that that's about to also shape what our industry is about to become. And obviously with all these, there's a lot of data in your life as well, data around you. So from machine learning roles to data engineering, different kinds of data engineering roles, they would also become very useful as we enter into this world as well. So yeah, I would say those are the things that come to mind in terms of like career paths to look at and opportunities within those spaces as well.
Okay, so do you think there'll be like be you think maybe there's one or two non-technical roles that will still be relevant with our changing space?
For tech, project managers and product managers and program managers, they are different, but they sort of like in some way. So there's also that. Um, so those roles are going to exist, but the one I'm going to say is in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a technical field, but under cybersecurity, there are different kinds of things. And so there will be the technical bits to cybersecurity. That's one thing to look at. I don't know what these bits are exactly because I'm not fully in cybersecurity. What I know is cloud security, and that's around like identity management and things like that. So I can speak for that. However, and cloud security is sort of under cybersecurity. So I can speak for that. But like I know that cybersecurity is going to be something, right? And apart from that, there's also in terms of AI, right? As we're getting into this world, people need to make policies, people need to advocate for ethical AI, people need to do a lot of things. So that ethics of AI is also going to be a part where we're going to be seeing a lot of people and a lot of things coming up, you know, if they haven't already even started.
Okay, so let's talk about in general how far we have come in addressing challenges, the challenges posed against women's growth, women's trajectory of their career in STEM fields, and young girls, young women, young girls in the space.
I would say we are trying, but we're not there yet. And we're not there yet because addressing the challenges aren't only an institutional problem, like, okay, we need to fix this in tech. It's all what we need, first of all, is a mindset shift. Unfortunately, that mindset shift hasn't happened yet. So opportunities have started springing up in the office, so but like if those opportunities are there, but the mindset is still the same, has it really changed? Right. So there are a couple things that are happening. And I like the fact that a couple of things are happening, but it's still not as far as I would like it to be. And I also understand that these things take time because sometimes it might take a whole generation, right? Because although people that are advocating for these things, they might have started it, but unfortunately, they might not see it until a couple of years with a newer generation springing up and them, handling things differently and them saying, you know what, I'm going to start this early and I'm going to be this person because this is what I want. Um, so there's a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of work to be done. But I am hopeful that things will change. And I just hope that that mindset.
Can you hear me? I think your skin looks really good.
Thanks.
So are you a skincare girly?
Thank you. I'm not. I'm trying to be consistent now, but that was never really the case. Yes,
Like, how do you usually kick off your day? Like, what's your typical day like?
my typical day is very chaotic. So I wake up late, and then I'm like, oh my god, I have a meeting in 10 minutes, and then I rush to open my computer, and then I usually take my first meeting from my bed, and then after my first meeting, and then actually I get downstairs to get tea or water, whatever it is, and then I drink, then I start my day properly. Um, I typically don't have breakfast till like 12 later again to get breakfast around like 12:30, and then get with the rest of
What's
my
no longer
work day. In
breakfast?
the middle, obviously, take a break. It's still breakfast. I mean, it's the first meal of the day, so I'm breaking my fast from the previous day. So it's just I eat only twice a day. So I eat at 12 and I eat at 5. So just that window. I do intermittent fasting. That's what I do. Um, and I've been doing that for like 7 years. I've been doing that since as long as I remember.
That's good.
There's only once in a while that I eat outside of 5 o'clock, and that's probably because maybe I'm going for a birthday that's by all these kind of things. But I wouldn't ordinarily by myself want to eat and deliberately eat after 5. If I'm eating late, I'm typically eating at 6. I've been doing that for years, and my body has adjusted, and my body is very used to that. It helps me a lot. Yeah, I think that's typically what I do. My whole work day, I finish my work day, and then sometimes I spend it with family. Spend the rest of the day with family, gisting. I'm in a long distance relationship, so sometimes I will be talking to because we're in different time zones. So once I'm done with work, his day is starting, and then we spend some time in that morning talking to each other before he has to go, and then I go and gist with people. I'll watch TV. I will do other projects that I'm currently doing as well. Um, and yeah, just all those things together, right? So my day isn't, I don't have a typical day because my day is typically chaotic, but these are the things that happen every day, regardless of how my day goes. But if you want me to start giving you,
No,
granular details around,
like this
during my work,
the whole
it's
idea.
a very chaotic day.
The whole idea
Okay.
it's fine. The whole idea. So lastly, we are talking about Nexus skill, right? You know, earlier in the conversation, I talked about how Nexus skill, like over the last 2 years, you've been going to schools, talk to girls about STEM. So, what do you? So, Nexus skill, what role is as Nexus skill decide to take up to also push, keep pushing? As someone you would like who's already pushing. So, what more should we expect from Nexus skill in that area?
Nexus Hill is doing a lot for women in STEM at the moment. I mean, prior to this meeting, my operations manager, who was on this particular call before she had to drop out because of bad network, was in a different meeting earlier this morning that I couldn't attend, obviously, because of my flight. Around another thing that we plan to do sometime later in the year, we have a couple of partnerships and ongoing programs with Niva University, which is an online university programs also running. And we also are currently running a Future STEM Stars program where we go to different schools all around the year and just talk to girls in those schools around about STEM careers and, provide mentorship supports and different things for those girls. We've been doing that but we've been doing it right. And we're making this impact. And one thing about us is that we don't like to share when we take off. You will probably hear more about it as we wrap up that tour. But there's a lot of stuff currently going on. Unfortunately, because I am not currently in Nigeria, I'm doing as much as I can to support them as they are there on ground during the tours and focusing on all the things. Um, but we're doing a lot. And all our programs, many of our programs are not gender specific, but the Future STEM Stars program is solely for girls. And we're using that program to, because like I said, I'm very interested in the younger girls because they are at the stage where they are asking themselves, can I do it? Not how can I do it? Because I feel like many people have answered the how can I do it question now. There's so many resources everywhere. There's funding in some places, not as much as I would like, but it exists. And there's so much data around how you can do it. But the question around can I do it? Even if yes, there's so many questions around the fact that you can, but these girls don't have access at that very young age to actually know what they can and cannot do, because even if you as a parent you want to give your girls access to the internet, you would like you would be scared because there's also a lot of things on the internet that can spoil them, and then you reduce that access in some way. That question is a hard question for them to get answers to directly, and not honestly, they don't even know they don't know. So even when they get access to the internet, they're looking for the answer to that, if that makes sense. So like Nexa skill is focused on answering that question for young girls, STEM plus program. But the rest of our programs are just to help people start and career. And this year is a very busy year for us. So expect a very packed end of year. Um,
I mean, I'm wishing you the best. You the best in this new phase you're in. Also, next skill. We expect to hear good things from you. I mean, I know we're going to keep doing more things. So you mentioned movies earlier. So what kind of movie person
that
would you?
requires me to really focus. It has to be really good, like Game of Thrones good. Um, I'm sure by this you can tell that I really like Game of Thrones. I really love Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
I won't judge you because
So I find horror movies.
I mean I won't judge you because I watch true crime to relax. So I won't judge you at all. But thank you for joining me, Adora.
Okay, no,
Have a nice day.
thank you so much.
Enjoy your
Have a
chaotic
nice
day.
day. Bye. We started with chaos, as you can.
Yeah.
So I need to get back. Yes,
All right.
thank you so much.